President Bongbong Marcos has asked the PCO or Presidential Communications Office to combat fake news. This all comes after photos of First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos made rounds online with critics claiming that they were edited. One such image shows the First Lady dining with members of the Asian Cultural Council in Malacanang last Saturday, sparking rumors that she was not in the Philippines and allegedly arrested in the United States, which the palace has denied. Malacanang said that even the president is feeling the impact of fake news.
Ever since, tinatarget na sila ng fake news. Hindi ito bago. Simula nang hindi naging maayos ang pagtingin ni VP Sara sa pamilya Marcos, nag-start na po ang fake news. In a way, he is slightly affected. So that's why they asked the PCO to do its job to counter fake news, not only for himself, but for the country.
The palace also dismissed Attorney Harry Roque's claims made during a Facebook Live, alleging that the First Lady was upset that PBBM was not made Agriculture Secretary under former President Duterte. They also rejected his call for a people power movement.
Liza Araneta, galit na galit dahil hindi tinalaga ang Marcos Jr. bilang Secretary of Agriculture. Well, pasensya na po kayo, pero talagang ang galing ng judgment ni Presidente Duterte pagdating sa character. Alam niyang bulok ang Marcos, hindi lang ang senior, kundi pati ang junior.
Fake news? Fake news. Prove it. Peaceful gathering. For what? For what? Anong purpose? If they really for peace, why are they asking for the resignation of PBBM?
And to help us understand how Malacanang is combating the spread of fake news, we are joined by Assistant Secretary Aboy Paraiso from the Department of Information and Communications Technology. Welcome to the big story, Asik Paraiso. Let's start with the steps that the department is taking to counter the spread of fake news.
Well, against fake news and against sites or people who proliferate fake news, it is very varying on the steps we take. We first have to understand that there is a challenge when it comes to the platforms in which these fake news are being proliferated, and most of them are being shown or being spread through social media platforms. And the problem primarily there is we don't have jurisdiction over them. Therefore, we cannot exercise regulatory powers over them. So what we do now in government is forge a partnership and a collaboration with the social media platforms. So there are several things we are undertaking. First and foremost, like I said, a collaboration with the social media platforms. And a product of that collaboration is whenever there is an AI-generated video, audio, or picture or image, there would be a banner on these social media sites that these are AI-generated or computer-generated. Then here, this is the part where I thank media and our media partners like yourselves and lending us their platforms to help us reach our countrymen, our kababayans, when it comes to our educational campaigns, our information drives against fake news. We also are now looking into the fact-checking and debunking entities and collaborating with them because we do realize that the only way that we can approach this is it has to be fair, it has to be unbiased. So we're looking into that particular avenue when it comes to combating fake news. And then as the NBI is doing, when it crosses a certain boundary and it infringes on certain people's rights, we are now starting to file charges and take legal actions against the violators and creators of these fake news. And then we try as much as possible to combat the algorithmic measure effect of troll farms. And we do realize that there are troll farms that affect algorithms. That's why ordinary people that are oblivious to what's going on would regularly receive feeds from on their social media platforms or social media accounts of news that have dubious origins or dubious contents.
That's what I was actually curious about, Asek Aboy, no? As far as the DICT as an agency is concerned, how do you guys monitor fake news at all? Like, meron ba kayong mga media monitoring dyan? And like, if so, how wide or how extensive is this monitoring?
Well, first and foremost, that the ICT has no mandate to monitor these fake news. But when other agencies ask for our helps, that's where we step in. And talking about systems, we do have a system and an application that can monitor both social media sentiments, um, uh, uh, the what is trending, and we can put in certain uh, measures in order for us to pinpoint fake news that are being spread online.
And yun na nga, Asik, ano, I mean, with the rise of artificial intelligence and with just how good editing photos and videos have gotten, I mean, how can we verify all these information before it gets viral? Because you have people now questioning the authenticity of the things they see on social media. Kahit totoo naman talaga siya.
Well, that's the thing. Tama naman ho. Merong mga totoong videos, may mga faking videos, may mga deepfakes, and it's hard to tell the difference. What we do is encourage people to verify their facts, or whether it's a video or audio or image, or even the content, the context of these contents. We have to go to legitimate and verified sources. Like for example, One News has a verified Facebook page or website, which can be easily accessed by our no every Filipino that wants to verify the news. So these are the steps that we have to educate our citizenry about. Not just believing everything that comes into their feed, because you have to remember, and one lookout is whenever you receive a feed, it comes from a third person who shared it, or probably a fictitious account that is a product of these troll farms.
Who should be the lead agency, ASEC, in going after the sources of fake news?
Well, the responsibility
NBI?
and the mandate is shared by various government agencies. As you properly reported, the president mandated the PCO to check on and try to prevent this fake news, and then we have a collaboration with the PCO. But when it comes to going after the peddlers of fake news and the origins of these fake news, we have our law enforcement agencies like the NBI and the PNP. Then we pass it on to the prosecution services. But I'd like to point out that we have an attached agency called the Cybercrime Investigation and Coordination Council that can be tapped in order for the collaboration of government to be under one roof, and that's something that we would like to propose and we're looking at.
Okay, balikan natin yung fact-checking, no? Because I believe what happened, Asek Aboy, was dati, may mga fact-checkers, for example, Facebook or Meta, they have 3 organizations doing their fact-checking, and some of them are quite well-known, but they've since defunded that, and they're now leaning more towards Twitter or X's, yung community notes, meaning we can all put fact-checks ourselves if we do so desire.
Yes.
Right? Do you
Yes,
think this is the right way? Or because parang we're headed towards regulating it, which we've seen it kind of fail in other more developed nations as well. So to what point should we regulate? Or should we rely on these community notes where we can kind of self-regulate?
Well, that is exactly one of the points that we'd like to emphasize. In other countries talagang self-regulation, but in our particular case, tama ko kayo, before there was these fact checkers when it comes to these social media platforms, pero tinanggal na ho nila. So what government is looking into is, have an institutionalized fact-checking unit, but it has to be from the outside. So we just want to help them start, and then kasi we have to treat fake news as fake news. Whoever the bias leans towards to, or whoever benefits from those fake news, whether you're pro-administration or anti-administration, dapat to fake news should be treated as fake news. So everyone would be on the same page that, dapat totoong facts lang ho ang lumalabas. I remember saying that, or I remember people saying that it is an infringement on the right to expression. But, we are all entitled to our own opinions, but we have to remember we are not entitled to our own facts. That has to be, there has to be a single source of
Pero Asek Aboy, do you remember back, I think in the previous admin, no, before natin maipasa yung SIM card registration law, may katuwang yun na isang provision where we have to register our Facebook accounts. Like they do in other countries. Won't this be an easier way to like kind of control it? Obviously, that had to be junked para maipasa yung SIM registration law. It was very unpopular at that time. Is that something that we could revisit na para legit Facebook accounts lang belonging to legit people?
How many Facebook accounts are there compared to the population of the Philippines? Baka more.
Baka more, and like really bizarre names,
Can you
right?
help us, Asek? Yeah.
Tama ho. Actually, that's one of the things that we have noticed, and that it is one of the avenues that we are trying to explore. Tama ho kayo, but we have to perfect the SIM card registration first. The DICT recently conducted its audit, and we are in the process of wrapping up that audit of the enforcement of the SIM card registration law. So we are at the phase that we have to recommend whether to verify those pre-registered numbers, and then repeat the registration process altogether, whether it's face-to-face or we allow online, and what government IDs to use, because ang sabi ko nga namin, nung nakita ho namin, ang dami hong mga flaws or ang daming mga nakakalusot ho sa kinonduct natin ng SIM card registration act that was passed on to the MNOs or the mobile network operators na ultimo ko yung mga graduate na recto nakapag-register. In one hearing ako, nasabi pati yung picture ng unggoy nakalusot ho. So those are the things that we have to correct first and strengthen the SIM card registration law, and as well as the enforcement kasi ho, nangyari rin ho ngayon, nakakapagbenta ng pre-registered SIM cards yung mga kababayan natin, and some of them use yung poverty as an excuse, but we have to set an example and may kailangan may makasuhan and mapanagot sa mga to para hindi na hutularan. Only at that time that we can revisit that proposition that we have. We tell the social media platforms that before you can register or continue with your social media accounts, it has to be anchored upon a pre-registered SIM card.
Well, Asek, fake news has definitely become a national issue. I mean, you have the House conducting hearings in aid of legislation. Draw the line in terms of censorship and freedom of expression.
Well, when I was in law school, I was taught that your rights end when another person's right begins. So I think that's the line. If it infringes on other people's rights, if it's malicious, if it's defamatory, then it has to be curtailed. Again, I go back to that particular phrase. We are entitled to our own opinion, but we are not entitled to our own facts. So I think that's something that we have to hammer that point across, because right now everyone apparently in social media can just create their own facts, their own narratives, unbridled and without consequences, and that has to stop.
But we have laws like cyber libel, we have these laws. Can't we just apply these existing laws? Sometimes we joke na ang dami nating batas, diba? Enforcement is the problem. So can't we just focus on that instead of drafting a whole new set of regulations and laws?
Tama naman po, and that is what we are currently doing. We are using and utilizing existing laws to go after the creators or the origins of these fake news, those who spread it. But there are still loopholes. For example, if you knowingly know that what you are spreading or what you are sharing is fake news, wala akong parusa ho dyan. Those who gumawa, oo, kasi siya yung origin nun. Pero those people who share and contribute to the proliferation of fake news, wala pa ho. So I think there are still loopholes, and there are still some holes that we need to patch when it comes to the enforcement of the and curtailment of fake news, because bago sa atin to the laws that we are talking about and enforcing right now does not contemplate the social media and the ICT and the Internet of Things come into play.
All right, well, I guess it's the law, the truth and the rule of law that will fight fake news. So we thank you so much, Assistant Secretary Aboy Paraiso, Spokesperson and Assistant Secretary for Legal Affairs of the Department of Information and Communications Technology.